Welcome back to the EPL prediction show. We're now up to game week 30, just 9 matches remaining this season. We're off international duty. There is FA Cup matches this weekend, but it's all about the Premier League. So without further ado, let's just jump straight in and make our predictions.
Starting off on Tuesday, 7:45, Arsenal against Fulham, a little bit of a London derby. Arsenal prior to international break, bit of patchy form. Obviously, they got a number of injuries there. Fulham, decent form as well, only 2 losses in their last 6, so it's going to be quite a tasty affair. However, Arsenal, they need to keep the pressure on Liverpool, even though for me, with 9 games to go, 12-point gap. Yeah, it's pretty much titles in Liverpool's hands. So yeah, let's go 2-1 to Arsenal.
2-1 to Arsenal. Yes, Nathan, I've gone exactly the same as you. I think the last prediction show we had a lot of the same predictions. Fulham have shown a lot of character, currently up to 8th position. Arsenal, as you say, they got some injuries. Kai Havertz, will he be back for this one or not? We're not too sure. Only the one win in their last 4, and that was in their last fixture, where they came away with a 1-0 victory at home against Chelsea. So 2-1 for me. They need all 3 points in this one in the running. Next up, we've got Wolves coming up against West Ham, also on Tuesday evening. Wolves just teetering just above the relegation zone, but they've only suffered defeat once in their last 4 matches. A decent enough away win against Southampton last time out, without their talisman Cunha as well. This one, West Ham kind of turned things around. However, they're only 1 position above Wolves themselves. They're looking down slightly, but they should have more than enough points in the bag to survive this season. In the last fixture, they managed to grind out a draw against Everton up at Goodison Park. And then this one, I fancy Wolves at home actually. I'm going to go for a 1-0 slender victory to the home side.
Interesting. I'm actually going to go for a stalemate here because West Ham just seem, especially under Potter, where they haven't really had much of a new manager bounce, just the odd victory here and there. They are very inconsistent and cagey, and it's taken time for that football to bed in. So Wolves, I think they are going to go for it, especially into the push of the last 9 games of the season. Because in my opinion, with the way that the bottom 3 clubs are playing at the moment, it's probably going to be the earliest that all 3 of them have been relegated, to be honest. So yeah, I'm going to go 1-1 draw. Moving on, 8 o'clock on TNT, Nottingham Forest up against Manchester United. Man United, prior to international break, had a bit of a good run of form, beating Leicester, who've been shocking. Arsenal had injury problems. Ipswich, who haven't been great either. And then a draw against Everton, whereas Forest, they're going to want to be pushing to keep that gap opening between them in 3rd and obviously Newcastle in 6th, as it looks like the top 5 places are going into the Champions League. So if they can keep that gap nice and wide, then they should be a way to go. And I think they'll do that 2-1.
Yeah, I've got exactly the same as you on this one as well, Nathan. 2-1 Manchester United, looking decent at the moment, you would say, but also Nottingham Forest as well, recently beaten Manchester City 1-0 at home, and in the fixture before the international break was a 4-2 away win against Ipswich Town. It'll be interesting to see how Manchester United perform in this one. Both teams have got a lot of players been playing away on international duty, so same as you, 2-1. Next up, we'll move to Wednesday evening, where we've got Bournemouth coming up against Ipswich. Bournemouth, as we know, have had a great season. However, it's just a 1 win in their last 6 matches. Defeat at home against Brentford, surprisingly enough, in the last fixture. I think they'll bounce back in this one because Ipswich is 4 defeats on the bounce, 5 defeats in their last 6 matches as well, conceding a lot of goals to the Tractor Boys too. And you're coming up against a Bournemouth side who sometimes can score a hatful of goals, and I think they will in this one. I think they'll win 3-0 quite convincingly.
Interesting. Yeah, I've gone exactly the same as you again. This is Bournemouth. Obviously, they've gone into a bit of patchy form prior to international break. At one point, I thought they'd be pushing for Champions League, but not so much now. They just need to push for those European places, even though you've got the likes of Fulham and resurgent Villa as well, looking for those extra places in there as well. Lots of teams battling for Europe this season. So for that reason, yeah, I'm going to give it to Bournemouth 3-0. Ipswich, they got to find some points from somewhere, haven't they? Anyway, moving on, Brighton up against Aston Villa. Both teams fighting for European football as well. Brighton, you could say, fighting for Champions League football with their run of form at the moment. Haven't lost in the last 5 matches, looking very good as well. Villa have been looking just as good as well, minus that blip against Palace. Obviously got European football to stead them in as well. Cough, cough. Of course, Champions League quarter-final. So probably going to edge it to Villa. I don't know why. After this international break, they need to start up on a strong foot, and I think they will. 2-1.
2-1. Yeah, difficult one. This could go either way. Yeah. I'm going to sit on the fence. I'm going to go for a draw. I am going to go for a 1-1 scoreline. Villa, they did win their last away fixture against Brentford, but prior to that away from home, that it was losses against Wolves and Crystal Palace. So they'll find this match tricky, especially against Brighton, who sometimes they do flatter to deceive, but other times they're world beaters. So yeah, 1-1 draw for me here. I think it'll be very, very tight. Next up, we've got Manchester City coming up against Leicester City. Only one winner in this one. Leicester, 6 defeats now on the bounce.
Shocking.
Woeful, back in the Championship, as we've said, straight back down. Leicester City. Man City, Mamouche, when he gets on the field, scoring for fun. Haaland's getting kind of back into some sort of form as well, but they're not actually winning too many matches, but I think they'll win this one comprehensively 4-0.
Yeah, this will be a decent Man City result, to be honest. Leicester, where do we even start with them? Rude's lost the plot, hasn't he? I think, especially what we've seen in recent years, well, I'd say in the last 5, 6, 7 years, Man City, it's always quite low score lines at home against the newly promoted side, and especially this season as well, where they haven't been scoring too many goals as of late. So I think for that reason, probably just going to say 2-0 to Manchester City. Anyway, moving on, Newcastle up against Brentford. Confidence is going to be there after the Carabao Cup victory, or they're going to be on the beach. Who knows with Newcastle, because they can still push for Champions League football and put the pressure on Manchester City. So they're coming up against a Brentford side, 11th place, not going down, probably not going to make Europe, in decent form, so they're probably going to be on the beach at this point, I imagine. So I think, yeah, let's go for Newcastle 3-1. Isaac probably with a couple of goals.
Brentford, they can surprise anybody in this division. They could go to St James's Park, could come away with all 3 points. However, looking at the head-to-head results over the years, Brentford haven't actually beaten Newcastle at St James's Park since 1930. I think it was 1934, and I think they've only won a couple in the last 6 years as well, but they were both at Brentford. So we've got to go for a Newcastle win here. Back from international break, it'll be a decent game, this one, but I think Newcastle will edge it 2-1. Next up, also on Wednesday evening, we've got Southampton coming up against Crystal Palace. Another team that are down or out of stage. Back down into the Championship you go. 5 defeats on the bounce. Crystal Palace looking decent. I think Mateta is back in the fold as well. A good home win against Ipswich, and prior to that, a very good 4-1 victory against Aston Villa. And I think they'll take all 3 points here on the south coast. Okay, sometimes Southampton can make it tricky, but going forward, yeah, they're not great, are they? So a 2-0 away victory to the Eagles in this one.
With the way it's going, I'm pretty sure Southampton are going to end up being the first team to lose 30 games in a season.
9 points.
Which is just absolutely nuts. Even Derby, I don't think, managed that. Absolutely shocking. I think Palace go in there, it's definitely going to be a win for them, but I don't know why I think it's going to be kept tight. So yeah, let's go 2-0 to Palace. But who knows with that one apart from that. Anyway, moving on, Merseyside derby, rearranged from earlier in the season. Liverpool up against Everton. Now, could have as magic as we did at Goodison the other week. The last ever derby at Goodison Park, wasn't it? But Liverpool need to keep getting those points on the board. They've got a 12-point gap at the moment. They need to extend that, for me, just to get more comfortable within the title race. I don't know why. I think it's just going to be narrow 1-0 at Anfield to Liverpool. Yeah,
I think there'll only be 1 goal in this one. I've gone for 2-1 to Liverpool. I can't see this one ending up in a draw. Sort of like the news, Alexander-Arnold, that news that he looks like he's off to Real Madrid.
Gone, he is, definitely.
So at the end of the season, a lot of Liverpool fans not happy there. So Everton could put a spanner in the works, and you don't know what the mood is going to be that there at Anfield, so they could nick something, but I think I'll play it safe in the predictions league, so I'm going to go for a 2-1 home victory to the Reds. And the final fixture of this game week, it's a Thursday evening.
Pathetic.
Jeepers creepers. It's Chelsea against Spurs, live on Sky, 8 o'clock on Thursday, 3rd of April. This is going to be narrow. Spurs hapless themselves.
Pathetic as well.
Okay, 2 defeats in their last 3. A reverse against Fulham last time out, where they were outplayed. Chelsea to the heady heights of 4th position, but they suffered defeat at the hands of Arsenal, to be expected. Back at Stamford Bridge, I expect them to narrowly get past Spurs here. I'm going to go for a home win. I'm going to go for 1-0.
It's quite funny because Chelsea are literally only picking up points against teams that are way down in the table. So that's why I'm going for a Chelsea win, 2-1, extending their winning run over Tottenham.
Superb. So thanks for joining me this time, Nathan. Welcome back. Thanks for all of you guys as well for joining us. Of course, it is FA Cup quarterfinals this weekend. Maybe I'll be able to squeeze in another video at some point, probably on Friday if I can. But as you know, these games are taking place on Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday. So enjoy the FA Cup, enjoy the Premier League, and we'll see you all in the next video.
Hey, I got something to say. I'm just so sick of hearing everyone complain. I know it's tough and I know there's pain, but hitting bottom is the only way to